Hey Floss Tube, this is Brian. Welcome back. This is my 9th video, and in this video I plan on sharing with you some of the things that I did in November stitching wise, and I also plan on sharing with you some of my plans for December. But first of all, just a couple of updates. I hope that all of you that live in the US had a great Thanksgiving. We did. We traveled out of state because one of our nieces was getting married the Saturday before Thanksgiving. So we left home early and spent all of Thanksgiving week in Utah and Idaho with family. It was really a great experience. I saw some of my brothers that I haven't seen for a couple of years, and it was just really great to be together with all of our families and to enjoy one another's company. Because of that, my November stitching looks a little bit strange, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. Also, I just posted a video that did the results for the giveaway that I announced in my last video. And once again, I just want to thank everybody for posting in that video and sharing with me all of your gadgets. That was really a great experience. I had a great variety of different things. And I had everything from Q-snaps to frames, needle minders. Letitia, your beeswax thread heaven holder is really popular. I thought you'd like to know that. I also had a lot of different people who use different tins to store needles and things like that. I also had a lot of different ideas that I'd never thought of before. So great. And Joe, you just cracked me up. Joe said that her favorite tool was herself, and I thought that was pretty funny. That made me laugh because I've never thought of myself as my favorite tool, but that was pretty cool. Anyway, so thank you for all your comments that you did on that video and all of the others. As always, I really appreciate that. I appreciate you spending time with me. The other thing that I want to talk about is I won a giveaway. I won Pam Reed's giveaway. I won a gift certificate to 123 Stitch. And when she read my name in that video, I was actually absolutely shocked because I never win anything. And I want to thank Pam for that, for holding that giveaway and for the prize. So I just want to let you know what I used that gift certificate for. I kind of struggled at first trying to decide what I wanted to buy because there's so many things that I want to buy, but I finally decided that I wanted to get something that was more materials rather than charts. And I have been really wanting to stitch the Little House Needleworks Hometown Holiday series. I think those would look great as a series of flat folds sitting on top of a roll top desk that we have, or someplace in our house for Christmas. So I decided to buy all of the classic Colorworks threads to be able to do that. I still need to get the DMC to do that. I have the material already for it, so I'm getting really close to being able to do this. And so Pam, you kind of subsidized my purchase of these threads. And I also got a couple of sets of needles because I'm starting to get close to running out of needles. Once again, thanks. That was really great. I was absolutely shocked that I won that drawing. So let's talk about my November stitching. November was kind of a really strange month for a couple of reasons. And I'm going to start with my graphs just to show you what I mean. So this first graph that I'm going to show you, this is my monthly summary of 2016. And you'll see that November looks really pitiful. The number of days that I stitched dropped, and the number of stitches that I actually put in is significantly lower. There's a reason for that. The first reason is, of course, the reason why the number of days dropped is because I spent a week out of state, and there was just not any time to really stitch. I took a project up to stitch, but there just wasn't any time to stitch. And because of that, I didn't stitch very much. So that's why the number of days dropped. And the other thing that happened is I worked on a couple of projects that the cross stitching is minimal or non-existent, that I was back stitching, and so I couldn't count stitches. And because of that, my stitch count is way low too. That doesn't mean that I didn't do anything. It's just things turned out weird. So the first thing that I worked on was the season sampler. This is a stitch along by Abi Gurden of Bees Needleworks. I've shown this before several times, so you probably know what I'm talking about. But I had one more part to stitch last time I did a video, and that's the first thing I worked on since my last video. And so I am going to show you what this looks like now. So up until a couple of days ago, I was all caught up. When I showed you this before, I had it done down to here with the trees and the leaves. And I stitched this band here, and I'll give you a little bit of a close-up here. Basically, it's some acorns and leaves. And I have to tell you, this band, that's the hardest band I've stitched. This is the most challenging thing I've ever stitched. Part of the reason why is these white bands here. It's just that stitch. It was very difficult for me to make every stitch look nice and uniform and make them all look the same. And that's because essentially you're tying a knot every single time. So it was really hard to make those look nice. And they're not perfect, but they're good enough that I can live with it. And then these acorns down here, these acorn caps, that was another stitch that was it wasn't really challenging, but it was time consuming, and I don't know, they look nice, but I'm sure an expert, somebody who was more experienced, could make those acorns look a lot nicer. You probably can't see, but when I look at it close, there's things I don't like about it. At any rate, because this band was so complicated, I mean, it took me 3 or 4 days to stitch this. It was so crazy. So Abi has released the next part, and I was thinking that the rhyme, I mean, the verse says, "Spring's all buttercups and breezy, summer's hot and bumblebeesy, autumn's bright with colored treesy." I thought the final rhyme would be freezy, but it's not, it's sneezy. So I'm excited to stitch this. I'm probably the stitch alongs, I'm finding that I don't want to take a day out to work on them. I could do that, but then that takes a day away from everything else that I'm doing. So what I'm doing is I'm putting this in my rotation, and when this comes up, I'm just going to stitch everything that's available till then. So anyway, I'm pretty happy with how this is turning out so far. I'm looking forward to getting it finished, which I should be able to do towards the end of let's see, the last part will be released in February, so maybe March I'll get it finished. The next piece that I worked on was our family tree. This is what it looks like when it's finished. And last video I said I was going to execute and finish this, and I executed and I finished. But unfortunately, I'm not going to show you the entire piece. And the reason why is because there's names on here, there's names of living people on here, and I don't want, for privacy reasons, I don't want to show their names. So, but I am going to show you the top. So this is what it looks like. Let me see here, this is so big. It's all finished, and that for me, this is a real accomplishment. And part of the reason why is, I mentioned this when I first talked about this. And part of the reason why this is a big accomplishment is this is my oldest whip, or it was my oldest whip until it was finished. And it has been 20 years in the making. Now that's pretty embarrassing, I think. But as I talked before, I've actually kind of stitched this twice. The first time I stitched it, I just hated the fabric, and it just got so I couldn't work on it anymore. So I started over, and I was able to, with the experience that I've had since I've started this, it went a lot faster, and I like how it looks a lot better. So I did all the back stitching, and then there's this ribbon embroidery. So if you look a little bit closer, you'll see that there's spiderweb roses and ribbon and silk ribbon leaves. And those were really fun to do. They were kind of challenging, but I really like how they turn out. They add a real extra dimension to this piece. So I'm really excited about getting this framed. One of the other things that's kind of about this piece is I actually finished the cross stitching back in February, and I kept procrastinating finishing the back stitching because I wasn't looking forward to stitching all of the names in the pedigree charts. But that turned out to be quite an experience, because there are names there of people, of my grandparents, my great-grandparents, and my great-great-grandparents. Now, my great-great-grandparents, of course, I don't know. I only remember 2 of my great-grandparents. And all of my grandparents have since passed away. So stitching their names actually brought back to me memories of my grandparents that I remember. And it gave me a desire to get to know those of my grandparents that I don't remember. And there's a website called Family Search that I used to pull the names down. I knew them, but I used that because it has all of my genealogy in there. And it also has the ability to post stories about different people. And I found stories about my great-grandparents and great-great-grandparents that other people had posted on that website. And so I was able to read a couple of life histories of some of my great-grandparents, so that they weren't quite just names to me. And that was really cool. So stitching all of these names, it brought back memories of my grandparents, made me miss them a little bit, and it helped me get to know some of my other grandparents that I didn't know. And I just stitching this, it gave me a great sense of gratitude for all of my ancestors. My great-great-grandparents and great-great-great-grandparents, all of them came to the United States in the mid to late 1800s. They came for mostly religious reasons and some economic reasons. They left their homes and everything that they knew in England and Switzerland and the Netherlands, and they came to the United States to start a new life. And they got here, and life was hard back then. A lot of them struggled to find work at first. A lot of them worked on the railroads. They worked any way they could to be able to support their families. And I'm so very thankful for them, because they basically laid the foundation for the life that I enjoy now. I am thankful for them, and I am so grateful for them. So I'm going to read this again. The poem I really like. It says, "Our family bond with hearts entwined stands strong as the oak tree through all time. By grace of God, when faith endures, our circle of love will be complete when in heaven we all shall meet." And I just want to let you know that I believe that this is literally true, that I believe that I will see my grandparents again. And I believe that I will get to meet my great-grandparents that I don't remember. And I look forward to that day. So this is a great piece. When we were up with my family, we started laying plans for my parents' 50th wedding anniversary celebration. And it was just a relief to think this is finished. All I need to do is get it framed. I don't need to feel guilty about it not being finished. It's done. And then the last thing that I worked on last month, I only worked on one other thing, and that was Autumn Magic by Randal Spangler. This is a chart as it's charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. I'm stitching it on 25 count Lugana 1/1. And if you've been following me, you know that there's been a lot of drama with this piece. And I want to thank Nikki's Crafts for a comment that she posted on my last video. She is a stitcher that has stitched a lot of these Heaven and Earth Designs full coverage 1/1 designs. And I expressed before that I was amazed at how much that she was able to do. And she posted in my last video, she posted a comment saying that one of the things that she does to be able to get her through stitching these large pieces is that she treats each page as a mini finish. And that kind of that really turned on a light bulb for me. And I've learned something about myself while I've been stitching this. So let me get this. I'll insert a picture of what this looked like the last time you saw it, right here. And this is going to look a little bit strange because I've kind of changed the way that I'm stitching because of Nikki's comment. And I decided that I was going to concentrate on stitching one page at a time instead of stitching the entire diagonal. And so that's what I did. And I was kind of hoping to finish a page, but I know that from my calculations that it'll take me about a month to stitch a page. And I didn't want to spend a whole month on this. But this is what it looks like now. So basically what I did is I finished this diagonal down here, and then I came up here and I started stitching diagonally on this page. And this is actually the bottom corner of this page, and the top is just right here. So I'm about just over halfway through this page. I decided to start from the top because it's just easier to find the page boundaries. If I had started down here, I would have had to have counted up to the top of the page, and that just sounded like a recipe for disaster. So I started up at the top because I could find the page boundaries better. And I am going to, the next time I work on this, I'm going to finish this page. And then when I finish that page, then I'm going to finish this page. And then I'll finish the page that's next to it. And I'll just work my way down until I have pages completed all the way down. So then it'll look like stair steps. And then after I do that, I am planning on stitching diagonally pages down this way. So I guess I'd call that something like a fractalized diagonal. So I'm working diagonally on two different levels. And one of the things that I've learned about this hasn't bothered me. This has actually been kind of fun to stitch. And part of the reason why it's been fun to stitch is I am seeing things take shape better than I was seeing with working the diagonals. And I've decided that that's one of the things that I most enjoy about cross stitch is I love seeing the design take shape as I stitch. And I just wasn't getting that much of a reward doing a diagonal. Let's see what else. The other thing you'll notice is at the page boundaries, I'm zigzagging the edges. That's just to avoid putting a ridge in my design on the page boundaries. And the other thing that does is what the zigzag is inside the page overlap on the chart, so I don't have to switch pages. That was another thing that was really getting to me as I get down to the end of a page and I'd have to go back and forth between pages to stitch a block that spanned pages. So I'm avoiding that. I don't have to switch pages. I can just concentrate on stitching more. Now, the other thing, you'll look at that and you'll say you're breaking your rule about closing in unstitched locations. And I break my rule on this. The way I work with this, because it's over one and only one strand of floss, the stitches are so small, I think it's really hard to make them look not bad. So I just stitch, I choose one color in my block and I stitch all of the colors in that block, and then I choose another color and I stitch all of the colors. It's kind of like cross-country stitching inside a 100 stitch block. And so because of that, I feel like I can zigzag my edges and not break my rule. So once again, thanks, Nikki. You've helped me unlock the key as to how I've decided I like to work through these, and that was just really great. I've been working on this for 3 weeks. Part of the reason is I worked on this the week before we went out of town, and I knew I wasn't going to have a lot of chance to stitch when we were out of town, so I took this because I didn't want to shortchange another project. And when I came back, I really wanted to get down to this corner at least, and so I've been working on it all this week to try to get to this corner, and I made it to the corner. I had hoped to get this diagonal done and start another one so that I could see the top of the page as well, but that didn't happen. But I haven't been grumbling about it. I have actually enjoyed stitching this, so I think I've found the way to work through these, and that's kind of nice. So I don't think I'm doing it any I don't think I'm stitching any faster. So there's still a question as to whether or not I'll finish it before I die. You know, if I concentrated on this and stitched it constantly, I'd finish it in about 3 years. But I don't know that I want to spend 3 years stitching that exclusively. So we'll see what happens. I've actually kind of had a desire to go monogamous a little bit because I've got a couple of my other projects where I'm getting I'm starting to see the end of them, and it's like, well, if I stitched on this constantly, I'd be done in a month. And so I've been kind of tempted to go monogamous, but I don't know. So as of right now, so that's everything that I did in November and part of December, the rest of this week. So now I'll just share with you what I plan on stitching in December. I had considered starting a piece that was Christmas and just stitching all Christmas in December, but I couldn't make a decision on what piece I wanted to start, so I'm just going to keep going through my rotation, and I will have some Christmas stitching next week, so that'll be fine. So the first piece I'm going to work on, this is just my regular rotation. I feel like I'm repeating myself because it's very similar to what I said last month, but my plans changed, and again, as always, things may change. Things are subject to change without notice. So the next piece I'm going to work on is Verandas of South Battery. I am excited to stitch this. My pieces haven't been calling to me because I've enjoyed stitching that, but I'm kind of ready for a change. I'm kind of getting tired of black and green and brown because that's about all I've been stitching. So I'm excited for a change in color. So Verandas of South Battery. Once again, I'm working on this blue house, and I'm getting close to. I think I'm going to at least see the edge of the blue house down towards the bottom. I would hope to be able to finish the blue house, but that'd be kind of the stretch goal. So anyway, the next piece I'll work on is Winter Sampler. This will be my Christmas stitching. I'm excited about this. I've got a diagonal to finish down here, and then we'll start this. I'll be able to finish this diamond ski scene, which I'm excited about. Starting to get into the ice skating vignette and see more of Santa and the gingerbread man. So I'll be excited for that. Also, the next piece I'll work on is red. I'm beginning to feel like I'm getting really close to finishing her. I mean, I'm stitching up in here now, so there's not really a whole lot of her left to stitch. And of course, I've got a mistake to fix, which I will do right off the bat, and then I'll finish I'll work on stitching her. We'll see how far we get with her. And then I'll be working on English Garden Sampler by Teresa Winsler. This, as I've said, I've finished the border, and now I've got to decide whether or not I'm going to work on this down here or this scene up here. I still haven't decided. I'll probably won't decide until I actually pull this out. So, and then the final thing, I don't know if this will be the end of December or the beginning of January. I plan on working on my Corazon sampler, which I'll be excited to work on this again. So those are my plans for December. I just want to give a couple of shout outs. There's another male stitcher that has started making videos. His name is Ginger Gerald Stitcher. I've been following him on Instagram for a while. He's working on some really cool stuff, and he just started a new Heaven and Earth design. So it'll be exciting to see how he goes with that. Also, if you probably know already, but Stitcher Moose has started making videos again. He's posted a new video. So if you haven't ever checked him out, check him out. He's great as well. We male stitchers, the men of Floss tube, we need to stick together. So check them out. There's so few of us. I know from my subscribers, there's some subscribers that I think are male. If you're on the fence about, guys, if you're on the fence about making videos, I want to encourage you to do it. It's really a fun experience, and it'd be great to have more of us representing. Finally, I want to wish all of you a Merry Christmas, and hope that you have an enjoyable holiday. Last week in church, we sang one of my favorite Christmas carols, and it's a Christmas carol that's not really as popular as most of the other Christmas carols, but I think it's relevant for this day, for the things that have been happening in the world of the past few years. And it's based on a poem by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, and it's called "I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day." And it goes, "I heard the bells on Christmas Day, their old familiar carols play, and wild and sweet their words repeat, of peace on earth, goodwill to men. I thought how as the day had come, the belfries of all Christendom had rolled along the unbroken song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. And in despair I bowed my head. There is no peace on earth, I said, for hate is strong and mocks the song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Then pealed the bells more loud and deep. God is not dead, nor doth he sleep. The wrong shall fail, the right prevail, with peace on earth, goodwill to men. Till ringing, singing on its way, the world revolved from night to day. A voice, a chime, a chant sublime, of peace on earth, goodwill to men." And I just want to wish you all at this time of season, wish you that you have peace and joy as you celebrate the holidays. Also, if you want to, I'm going to post couple of links to another couple of videos. One was made a couple of years ago, and I think it really helps to get you in the Christmas spirit. It's a video that was made by the Piano Guys and Peter Hollins and David Archuleta. It's a video of a nativity scene and of them singing "Angels from the Realms of Glory." And that is just a wonderful video. I'm going to post that. Check it out if you want to get some good Christmas spirit. Also, there's a campaign going on called Light the World. It's basically spending 25 days of December doing service and bringing in the Christmas spirit through service. My family is doing that. I don't really like tooting my own horn, so I'm not going to tell you specifically the things that we're doing. But we are spending all 25 days looking at ways that we can serve other people. And if you want to join me in that, you're welcome to. There's a video posted below, and that will take you to a site that gives you ideas for what you can do to be of service to those around you this Christmas. Anyway, great. That's about all I have. As always, thanks for watching. Thank you for subscribing, liking, and commenting. I enjoy all your comments and all of your encouragement and suggestions. Feel free to, if you want to follow my daily progress, feel free to follow me on Instagram if you aren't already. And thanks for watching. We'll talk to you later. Goodbye.